Greetings and salutations, fellow humans. Today is the 24th of July, 2025, and I am Thaddeus Satori. Today I would like to share some thoughts on compassion and unity. When I was a kid, being raised to be a good Catholic, my favorite story in the Bible was the one about the Good Samaritan, Luke 10:25 through 37 if you're interested. It's basically about a man who was beaten and robbed and left naked by the side of the road to die. A pair of religious clerics from the man's same tribe walked by without helping. Then a Samaritan from an adversarial tribe came by and rescued him. Love thy neighbor, right? Compassion. Just as I feel I have a pretty good understanding of the gist of Jesus' teachings, I also feel I have a pretty good grip on the teachings of the Buddha. In both belief systems, compassion is a high priority, but my programming has led me more towards schadenfreude, sort of, serves you right, you dumb bastard. In my early teens, my decrepit little mother sat in her wheelchair at the dining room table, chain-smoking Kent cigarettes and watching the TV in the living room via a makeup mirror on her table. She liked to watch mysteries like Murder, She Wrote, Magnum P.I., and Columbo, but every once in a while, a teen horror movie would come on one of the 3 network channels, and we would watch together. Most of the time, these movies began with a young woman running for her life, and despite all the clear signs, instead of running away from the danger, she would run directly into it and get herself killed. My mother's commentary invariably went something like this: "Oh, that dumb bitch deserves to die." I imagine this is a common reaction amongst many humans, at least in many cultures. The last few months that I lived in Thailand, about 5 days a week I would walk to the nearby temple and do my meditative breathing, walking, and stretching exercises. Because I could see that I was lacking in compassion, I had thoughts of studying with a monk in order to learn. But when I returned to the US in the middle of December of 2024 and saw the selfishness and cruelty of so many in my society, I thought to myself, damn! I thought I was having problems with compassion. I'm practically walking on water here. Over the years, I have been criticized for expecting people to live in accordance with the teachings of the religions they claim to belong to. But given that many, or perhaps even most, can't even be bothered to read the teachings and then go on to believe that it is sufficient to simply worship the messenger, it seems quite clear that my expectations are too high. To paraphrase the Buddha and Confucius, when a teacher points at the moon, most people stare at the finger. Jesus and Buddha are the fingers, by the way. The teaching seems so simple to me, but I guess there is something else going on. An evolutionary explanation, perhaps? Whatever the reasons, it looks to me like the monkey just didn't get too far from the tree. Throughout history, the ruling class has always held the aces, held all the wealth and power, and programmed the people to follow their commands. Society. They have been able to convince people to go off and kill and die in countless wars. Also they, the rulers, can expand their wealth and power. Ego. This seems to be the one consistency throughout history. I don't blame them. They too were just human and products of their programming. Perhaps my favorite line from any movie comes from the first Shrek movie. In it, Lord Farquaad is having a tournament to see which knight will have the honor to risk his life in order to rescue Princess Fiona from the fiery keep of the dragon. And here's how he finishes up. "Some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make." Spoken like a true leader. While I am not a fan of organized religion, I can certainly see the value in the community it provides. We have evolved as a communal species. Cooperation, however, does not suit the ruling class, and they can be counted on to get us to focus on our superficial differences. Divide and rule. The documentary on the cave rescue in Thailand in 2018 always manages to bring a tear to my eye. A soccer or football team of youth were trapped in a cave by sudden heavy rains and flooding. Over 10,000 people from all over the world and from all walks of life came together to overcome seemingly insurmountable odds to get those kids safely out. Cave divers, hydrologists, geologists, park rangers, local villagers, police, military, cooks, and so many others worked together toward the same goal. It is truly amazing what we humans can accomplish when we work together. When I view things as if I were an alien, it looks to me like the current administration in the US is attempting to destroy the country and the world order. Perhaps they are inadvertently directing us toward working together locally so that we are better prepared for things to come. I think of the COVID lockdowns and how the people in the state of Punjab in northern India were able to finally see the Himalayas for the first time after more than 30 years. Or how, when Britain stood alone against the Nazis, the government advised the people to plant gardens on every available piece of land. They knew the people were going to have to become more self-sufficient. I also think of the time I drove to Alaska when I was 18. I drove through an area in British Columbia where a forest fire had gone through. Mile after mile, there was nothing but black spruce sticks standing, and this went on for hours. I was amazed by the size. Just over 20 years later, I drove through the same area again, and what had once been an uninhabitable spruce forest had become a veritable Garden of Eden. Deciduous trees and a multitude of plants had come back, providing environment for elk, deer, bison, beavers, and a host of other life. Through destruction comes rebirth. That's all I've got for now. Please take care of yourselves and each other and begin to organize locally. If you do follow a teacher, please focus on the good stuff. We are going to need each other more than ever. Thanks for listening. Cheers.